Have you gotten a fresh tattoo and you want to know what not to do to prevent it getting an infection or healing badly? Stay tuned for tips and more. Hey guys, I'm Hayley Tattooer and this is Tattoo Talk. So I'm going to tell you in this video 10 things not to do with a fresh tattoo. Yes, 10 things not to do. Very important. So just to reiterate, doing these 10 things can lead to either your tattoo becoming infected or your tattoo healing up very badly from poor aftercare. So let's get straight into it. So first thing not to do with a fresh tattoo is swimming or soaking the tattoo. There's a lot of myths in this area that salt water is okay, fresh water is not, or fresh water is okay, but salt water is not, or it's fine to go swimming, just don't go in the hot tub. Those are all incorrect. You don't want to soak the tattoo at all. It's fine to get it wet in the shower and for cleaning purposes, but you do not want your tattoo soaking in the water, sitting in the water while it's trying to heal. So that includes salt water, that includes chlorine pools, fresh water, and especially hot tubs because they are full of gross bacteria and I would never ever put a fresh tattoo in a hot tub. Yuck. So the reason for this, I'm going to give you a little analogy. So you know when you're a kid and you like fell over and scraped your knees really badly and it would get a gross scab on it, and then you would go swimming over the holidays and then the scab would like fall off prematurely and it was just the worst because it didn't heal up properly. That's very similar to your tattoo. So during the tattoo healing process, you've got like the layer of skin over the top layer of skin, which has to essentially kind of die off because you're piercing through that layer to get ink into the second layer. So the second layer is where the ink stays and that's what you see when you're seeing a tattoo, and the top layer regenerates. So that's like the peeling process or the scabbing process if it's been a little overworked, okay? So if you swim during those first 2 weeks of your tattoo healing, you're essentially drawing out, and that top layer will peel off prematurely. It'll go soggy, it'll peel off, and it may pull some of the ink that is still settling in to that second layer out in the process. So you're going to fade your tattoo, and you're also going to open it up to infection. So any bacteria that's in the water then has an opportunity to get into your tattoo and cause an infection. So that's kind of a double whammy. So we don't want to swim, we don't want to soak your tattoo. Totally fine to get it wet in the shower, but no swimming. So the second thing not to do is to get it dirty. You do not want to get your tattoo dirty because dirt, bacteria, anything is going to get in there and it's going to cause an infection in your tattoo. If your tattoo gets infected, you're going to have a hard time. It's not going to look nice when it's healed. In some places you're going to have to pay to go to the doctors and get antibiotics, that kind of thing. So just avoid it. Keep it clean. You need to use a lot of common sense here. You don't want to go to a music festival the day after you've got a fresh tattoo and roll around in the mosh pit with a heap of sweaty bodies. You don't want to go out and mow the yard and have dirt and dust and everything flicking up on your tattoo. It's just going to be a bad time. You're just going to cause yourself extra pain and extra stress, and if it gets infected, extra money. So keep your tattoo clean. I also have a video of what to do if your tattoo gets infected. So if that has already happened, or if you are curious on how to clean it better to prevent infection, pop over to that video. So the third thing you really don't want to do when your tattoo is fresh and healing is picking or scratching. Your tattoo is going to get itchy and it's going to peel. Most of the time people get a peel at say the 4 to 5 day mark. It's a bit different for everybody. It will get itchy, don't scratch it, because if you scratch that top layer of skin off before it's ready to come out, again, it's going to pull ink out, or you could gouge ink out and end up with sections of your tattoo that just look bad. They've just healed badly. The ink hasn't settled in, it's been pulled out, it's going to need a touch up. So picking is the same. If for some reason you develop a scab on your tattoo, whether or not that is from the tattoo being overworked by the artist, or perhaps an unfortunate barbed needle or poor quality needle, or something has like there's some kind of abrasion on the tattoo after it's been completed by your clothes or something, it may develop a scab. You really need to leave that alone. don't touch it. It will pull the ink out. Just let it go through the healing process. Let it settle. Don't touch it. If you do have to touch your tattoo, make sure your hands are clean, but no picking or scratching. Number 4, what not to do. Sunburn. This grinds my gears. One of the worst things that you can do for a tattoo when it is fresh is get it sunburn. We know that you're excited. We know that you want to go and show it off, but it has to wait. You can't put sunscreen on a fresh tattoo, and the sun is going to fade it. If you damage your skin with sunburn during the healing process, and even after the healing process for some people, but definitely during those first 2 weeks, do not get your tattoo sunburned. It will cause your tattoo to heal poorly. You'll end up with something really faded, and if your artist can tell that you have not looked after their tattoo, we always say that it's our tattoo until it's healed. If your artist can see that you didn't follow the aftercare instructions, you didn't look after it, they may not touch it up for free. So if there's a free touch-up period, you may not get provided it if they can see that you haven't looked after it. So please don't get it sunburnt. We can see your Instagram pages. We can see your Facebook. If we're friends with you, we're gonna see if you go out on a boat to the islands 2 days after getting your tattoos. We're gonna see it. We have eyes everywhere. Number 5, ignoring aftercare instructions. So there is a reason that we provide aftercare instructions. It's because it works. Every artist may have different aftercare instructions. You need to follow that artist's aftercare instructions. If you believe that you have been given the wrong instructions or poor instructions, take it up with your artist or seek a second opinion from another tattoo artist. For example, some poor aftercare advice would be, oh, just leave it. Don't do anything to it. It'll heal itself. You do need to keep it clean. You do need to put cream on it. You do need to avoid picking and scratching. You do need to avoid sunburn and swimming, that kind of thing. So you should have been provided with a good set of aftercare instructions. Make sure you follow them. If you ignore them, we're going to know you'll lose your free touch-up and you could get an infection. Okay, cross-contamination. So this is a big one because it relates directly to your health, and there's nothing that we can do for you if you get cross-contamination in your fresh tattoo. So a tattoo is a wound, an open healing wound. Blood is coming out of it, plasma is coming out of it, your bodily fluids are coming out of it, and it's open to other fluids getting into it. So if you're going to the gym, keep in mind you are probably going to put your bodily fluids on a piece of equipment and get the bodily fluids that are pre-existing, like sweat, on that gym equipment into your tattoo. So you have exposed some other people to what's in your blood, and you've exposed yourself to whatever the heck is on that barbell, which is gross. So you can do things like wrapping it or using a second skin product or a tattoo derm or ProTat product, that kind of thing, if you need to do things where you're going to come into contact with places where there's other people's bodily fluids, like hospitals, like doctors, like your friends. A big one that we see is people getting pet portraits and then taking it home and taking a photo of their pet right next to it, or their pet like licking the fresh tattoo. Oh my gosh, you are going to get an infection, or you're going to get some kind of blood pathogen from that animal or that person or whatever you do. Just don't do it. Keep it away from that. It's an open wound. Treat it that way. Number 6 on what not to do with a fresh tattoo is wearing clothing or accessories that rub on the tattoo area. So for 2 reasons. First of all, if there's pre-existing bacteria on those items, like on those clothes or on a watch or a pair of shoes or socks, whatever, it's going to transfer to the tattoo, so it could cause an infection. The second reason is because you're getting that rubbing, that abrasion, it doesn't permit the tattoo to heal nicely. Even over time, we see on the feet, on the hands, the wrists, that kind of thing, wear and tear over time, even outside of the healing period, can cause the tattoo to fade. But inside that healing period, super important to keep your tattoo protected. Say if you've got a tattoo on the side of your foot, instead of wearing sandals or flats or thongs or flip-flops, make sure that you are, covering the tattoo and wearing sort of socks and sneakers or something like that. Clean socks and sneakers that they're probably going to touch to the tattoo, but they're not going to be rubbing on it and causing friction. So yeah, make sure that you got nothing rubbing on that fresh tatty. Number 8 on what not to do, not cleaning the area. Again, it's an open wound. You really need to clean it. Water, regular water, and clean paper towel and clean hands. That is all you need to clean a tattoo in the first couple of days. You can use medicated soap. Ask your tattoo artist what they recommend, or you can go to a chemist or a pharmacist and ask them for a non-fragranced medicated soap, and you may use that on your tattoo as long as it is a fairly gentle sort of soap. But it is not necessary to do that. It's fine just to use clean hands, clean paper towel, and good quality water. So number 9 on what not to do with a fresh tattoo, spray tanning. I never even thought about this because I don't spray tan. A lot of my clients and my studio's clients spray tan. So I'll give you a little story. A few years ago I had a fella, he was like in his 40s, maybe early 50s, got a tattoo under his arm, a little bit of half shaded writing with some nice white highlights. Came back to me a few weeks later and said, oh, my highlights have gone like yellow or brown. And I looked at the tattoo and I was mystified and said, I'm sorry, I have never experienced this before. I don't know why it's gone brown. And the guy very ashamedly hung his head and said, the night that I got it done, my teenage daughters spray tanned me to test out their new equipment. And I said, yes, because spray tan is a pigment. You've just blasted that open wound with that brown pigment. It's going to stain. It's going to stain that white pigment. So it's very important not to spray tan over a fresh tattoo. Wait until the tattoo is finished healing. Give it 2 weeks. If it's important for you to get a spray tan, I would say to get like a Vaseline or a petroleum jelly and like smother the area of the tattoo in the Vaseline or petroleum jelly just while you're getting the spray tan, and then wipe it off. That way it creates a barrier for the spray tan pigment not to affect the tattoo. Otherwise use some other kind of covering or ask your tanning person just to avoid the area. Number 10 is a really common misconception. So number 10 on what not to do with a fresh tattoo is too much cream. Wow, I always see people coming in and being like, I know how to take care of a tattoo, you just put heaps and heaps of cream on it. And you're like, no. You don't put heaps and heaps of cream on it. You only want to create a little barrier for bacteria and keep the tattoo moist. You do not want to slather the area so it is so wet that it has the same effect as if you were swimming or soaking your tattoo in water. You just want to create a barrier to let the body heal the tattoo by itself, not smashing it with cream. You could also potentially create an infection or very poor healing. Pulling the ink out by soaking it in cream, really not necessary. If you are unsure about the amount of cream that you should be putting on, ask your tattooist to demonstrate to you when you get the tattoo. So generally we usually put a little bit more on when it's freshly done, just because you don't want to be like smoothing out a small amount of cream over a really raw area. It's easier for us to just put a lot on and you take the tattoo home and then take care of it from there. So it's less than we usually put on at the start. If you're not sure, ask your tattoo artist to show you on another part of your body how much to put on. I'll probably do a more in-depth video on aftercare with some product recommendations in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. But in summary, the 10 things that you don't want to do with a fresh tattoo, 10 things not to do would be swimming or soaking the tattoo, getting it dirty, picking or scratching, getting it sunburnt, ignoring aftercare instructions from your artist, cross-contamination, not cleaning the area, spray tanning, or putting too much cream on it. If you have any questions about any of these videos, chuck them in the comments below and I will get back to you. And don't forget to pop over to my Instagram, Hayley Tattooer, to see some of my work and some of my life stories. And please like and subscribe. Thank you.